The sky was clear over Colorado when the first alien ship touched down. It wasn't a crash landing. It wasn't a surprise attack. It was quiet, calm, and controlled. The world watched it happen on live television. The ship was smooth and dark, shaped like a teardrop. It landed in the middle of a high desert valley near a small town called Silver Ridge. No explosions, no fire, just silence as it settled into the ground like a stone dropped into water. Inside a nearby military base, a man named Ethan Blake stood at his desk, staring at the screen in front of him. He was 38 years old, tall, with short brown hair and tired eyes. He wore a green uniform with a few medals pinned to his chest. He had served in the Air Force for over 15 years, mostly behind a desk these days. He rubbed his face and said, "Well, they're here." Beside him, Maya Carter, 29, leaned forward to get a better look. She had curly black hair tied back and wore glasses that made her look smarter than she already was. She worked for the government as a linguist and translator, but today she felt more like an explorer standing on the edge of something huge. She whispered, "They didn't even ask permission." "They didn't need to," Ethan replied. "We couldn't have stopped them if we tried." Outside, helicopters flew low over the area, circling the alien craft like bees around a flower. Soldiers were deployed around the perimeter, but no one fired a shot. Everyone was waiting for what would come next. First contact. 3 hours after landing, the side of the ship opened. A ramp came down slowly, like something from a dream. From inside the darkness of the ship stepped 4 tall figures. They were not human. They were taller than any man, maybe close to 8 feet. Their skin was pale gray, almost like wet clay. Their heads were long and narrow, with no visible ears or nose. Their eyes were large, black, and deep. They looked like statues brought to life. They wore suits that shimmered like liquid metal. No weapons were visible, but everyone watching knew they could carry anything under those clothes. Ethan and Maya stood with a small group of officials at the edge of the landing zone. They had been chosen to be part of the first human contact team, not because they were heroes, but because they had experience working together and could stay calm under pressure. One of the aliens stepped forward. He, or maybe it, looked directly at Ethan. Then, without speaking, a voice echoed inside. "Ethan's mind, we are the Zalari. We come in peace." Ethan blinked hard. Maya gasped beside him. "I heard that too, right?" she asked quietly. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, telepathy." The Zalari leader raised one hand. A symbol appeared in the air above it, glowing blue. It looked like a circle with lines crossing through it. "We offer knowledge. We offer understanding." The humans looked at each other. No one moved. Then the same voice returned, louder this time. "You may speak." Ethan took a breath and stepped forward. "Name is Captain Ethan Blake. I represent the United States Armed Forces. This is Dr. Maya Carter, a linguist and cultural analyst." He paused. "Welcome to Earth." The Zalari tilted its head slightly. It was impossible to tell if it was curious or amused. "You are small," the voice said, "and weak." There was a long silence. Maya's mouth fell open. Ethan kept his face neutral, though he felt a flash of anger. "Excuse me?" Maya finally said. The Zalari turned to her. "You lack strength. Your bodies break easily. Your lifespans are short. You do not use your minds fully. You are primitive." Ethan cleared his throat. "We've survived ice ages, wars, disease, and space travel. I think that counts for something." The Zalari looked at him again. "You have potential, but you are far behind us." Another pause, then the alien added, "We will teach you if you are willing to learn." Diplomatic tension. Back at the Pentagon, the meeting room was filled with people in uniforms and suits. Maps, reports, and video footage covered every screen. The Zalari had landed, made contact, and insulted humanity, all within 6 hours. General Sir Paul Delaney, a grizzled man in his 60s, sat at the head of the table. He looked older than he was, worn down by decades of war planning. He stared at Ethan and Maya. They called us weak? Ethan nodded. In so many words. And telepathic? Yes, sir. Delaney leaned back in his chair. That changes things. Across the table, a woman named Dr. Linda Torres, and a scientist who studied extraterrestrial threats, adjusted her glasses. We don't know their full capabilities yet. They might be able to read thoughts, control minds, or worse. We can't assume they're peaceful just because they say they are. Maya spoke up. They seem very sure of themselves, almost arrogant, like they already know how this will end. That's what worries me, Delaney said. They're not here to trade, they're here to test us. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Delaney looked at the map of Colorado. They picked that spot for a reason. High altitude, low population, isolated. That's not a diplomatic landing, it's tactical. They want to see how we react. Maya looked uneasy. So what do we do? For a moment, no one answered. Then Delaney said, let them set up their base. Let them think they're in control. But watch them. Every move. Every word. He looked directly at Ethan. You and Dr. Carter will lead the liaison team. Get close. Learn what you can. And find out what they really want. Settling. 2 weeks later, the Zalari had built a base near the landing site. It looked like a city made of glass and steel, rising from the earth like something grown instead of built. It pulsed with light at night and hummed softly during the day. Ethan and Maya visited often. They talked with the Zalari scientists, observed their technology, and tried to understand their language. Most communication was still done through telepathy, which only a few humans could begin to process. Maya was fascinated by their symbols and sounds. She spent hours recording their speech patterns, trying to build a bridge between two worlds. Ethan, meanwhile, focused on the bigger picture. He noticed how the Zalari moved, how they walked carefully, almost deliberately. They never ran, never jumped, always slow. They don't like our gravity, he told Maya one evening. She looked up from her notes. What do you mean? They walk like they're carrying weight, like they're used to floating. Ethan pointed to a video clip on his tablet. It showed a Zalari picking up a rock and letting it drop. It hit the ground fast. They keep testing gravity, he said. I think it's stronger here than where they come from. Maya thought about it. If that's true, then maybe they're not as strong as they act. Ethan smiled slightly. Maybe not. But neither of them said it aloud. Not yet. Unanswered questions. One afternoon, Maya sat alone in a small tent near the Zalari base. She was reviewing a conversation she'd recorded earlier that day. One of the Zalari scientists had spoken directly to her in broken English. You study us? She had nodded. Yes. I want to understand your culture. The alien had looked at her for a long time before saying, You are strange, small, but loud, fast, many ideas. Maya smiled. That's what makes us special. The Zalari tilted its head. Perhaps. Then it turned and walked away. Slower than usual. Maya wrote that down in her notebook. Later that week, she saw another Zalari leaning against a wall outside, breathing heavily. Another one stumbled while walking. No one else seemed to notice. She started to wonder, are they faking their strength? Is Earth's gravity affecting them more than they admit? She decided to keep watching, very closely. The Zalari had been on Earth for nearly a month now. Their base in Colorado had grown bigger. It looked like something from the future. Smooth walls, glowing lights, strange machines moving silently through the air. But the humans who worked near them were starting to notice things. They noticed how the Zalari never ran, how they always walked slowly, how some of them leaned against walls when they thought no one was watching, and how their movements changed depending on where they were. Ethan Blake and Maya Carter were among the few humans allowed inside the Zalari compound. They wore special suits that let them breathe and move freely, but the Zalari didn't seem to need any such gear, at least not at first. Maya started taking notes every time she saw something odd. One day, as she watched two Zalari carry a heavy-looking device across a rocky patch, she noticed something strange. "They're struggling," she whispered to Ethan. He looked up from his tablet. "What do you mean?" she pointed. "That box they're carrying, it's not that big. But look how slow they are. Look how hard they're breathing." Ethan narrowed his eyes. He had seen it too, more than once. The Zalari moved differently, outside their base, like something was holding them back. "I think it's gravity," he said after a moment. Maya nodded. "I've been thinking the same thing." Alien arrogance. Despite their physical struggles, the Zalari remained arrogant. They talked down to humans constantly, treating them like children who needed guidance. At a meeting in the Zalari compound, Virektal, their lead scientist, stood tall in front of a group of human scientists and military officers. "You lack control over your bodies," he said telepathically, his voice echoing in their minds. "You get tired quickly. You break easily. You rely too much on tools." A young scientist named Daniel Ruiz raised his hand nervously. "But don't you use tools too?" Virektal tilted his head slightly. "We shape our tools. You serve yours." There was an uncomfortable silence. Maya leaned closer to Ethan and whispered, "He just called us servants to our own technology." Ethan gave a dry laugh. "Yeah, and he's not wrong. We do depend on it." "But so do they," Maya said. "Maybe even more than we do." Ethan glanced at her. "What do you mean?" Maya tapped her notebook. "I've been watching them closely. I think they use something to help them walk here. Something hidden." Ethan frowned. "Like what?" "I don't know yet," she said. "But I'm going to find out." Einder. Hidden struggles. Later that week, Maya got a chance to see more when she was invited to observe a Zalari experiment. Inside a large chamber, a Zalari engineer was testing a small device attached to its arm. The machine pulsed softly with blue light. Maya watched carefully as the alien lifted a metal rod off the ground. It held it high without effort. Then the engineer turned off the device. Immediately, the alien staggered. The rod dropped from its hands. It took a step back, almost falling. Maya's eyes widened. She quickly wrote down everything she saw. When she returned to the human base, she showed her notes to Ethan. "They have tech that helps them move," she said. "Without it, they can barely handle Earth's gravity." Ethan looked impressed. "So they're not naturally strong, they're just cheating?" "Looks like it," Maya said. "And they're hiding it." Ethan crossed his arms. "If this gets out, it could change everything," Maya finished. But before they could say more, a message came in from General Delaney. They were being summoned to a private meeting. A secret meeting at the Pentagon. Ethan and Maya sat across from General Delaney and Dr. Linda Torres. Delaney looked serious. "We've noticed the same patterns. The Zalari are slower outside their base. They struggle with movement. Some of our people saw one fall yesterday." Dr. Torres added, "We think they're using artificial gravity dampeners, small devices that reduce the pull of Earth's gravity on their bodies." Maya nodded. "Yes, I saw one in action. When they turn it off, they lose strength fast." Delaney leaned forward. "So they're not as strong as they pretend to be?" "No," Ethan said. "They're weaker than they admit." Silence filled the room. Then Delaney spoke again. "This changes things." Torres looked concerned. "We still don't know their real goals. If they're hiding weakness, what else are they hiding?" Maya said. "They keep talking about teaching us, but maybe it's more than that. Maybe they want to take something from us." Ethan agreed. "Or maybe they want to stay here. Maybe Earth's gravity isn't just a problem, it's also a prize." Delaney stood up. "Either way, we need to learn more. You two will continue working with them. Get close. Watch everything." Maya and Ethan exchanged glances. "Yes, sir," they said together. Inside the compound back at the Zalari base, Maya spent hours walking around, observing. She noted every stumble, every pause, every sign of strain. One evening, she caught sight of a Zolari technician sitting alone in a quiet corner of the compound. Its breathing was heavy. It looked tired. Maya approached slowly. "Are you okay?" she asked. The alien looked up. For a moment it didn't answer. Then it said, "Gravity is heavier today." Maya blinked. "Do you feel it more?" The Zolari nodded. "Our systems are adjusting." She smiled gently. "It must be hard living here." The alien stared at her. Then, for the first time, it said something personal. "Your world is strong. Too strong for us." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Before she could ask more, another Zolari arrived and pulled the first one away. Maya stood there, heart pounding. She knew now, they weren't just hiding their weakness. They were afraid of Earth's gravity. A dangerous idea. That night, Maya and Ethan met in a small tent near the edge of the base. "We need to tell someone," Maya said. Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. We need proof." She frowned. "What kind of proof?" "We need to show how dependent they are on those gravity devices. We need to prove they can't function without them." Maya thought for a moment. "What if we disable one? Just one. See what happens." Ethan hesitated. "That could start a war. But if we don't act, we might already be losing one," she said. "They treat us like children. They insult us, they look down on us, but maybe we're the stronger ones." Ethan looked at her carefully. "You really believe that?" Maya nodded. "I do." He sighed. "Okay, let's try. Quietly. Carefully." The first test 2 days later, Maya found herself standing near a storage unit behind the Zolari compound. Inside were crates filled with strange devices, some clearly used by the aliens to assist their movement. She reached into one crate and pulled out a small flat object that looked like a wristband. It hummed softly. "This should work," she whispered. She slipped it into her pocket and returned to the main building. Later that night, while on a guided tour of the facility, she spotted a Zolari engineer wearing a matching band. She waited until the alien stepped into a side corridor. Then, pretending to adjust her coat, she pressed a button on the stolen device. Instantly, the Zolari engineer froze. Its body sagged. It grabbed the wall for support. Slowly, it slid down to the floor. "Maya," gasped quietly. The alien looked up at her confused. "Why? Am I weak?" Maya forced a smile. "Gravity, right?" The Zolari groaned and tried to stand, but couldn't. Within minutes, other Zolari rushed in and helped the engineer back to its feet. They looked around, searching for the cause. Maya backed away, heart racing. She had done it. She had proven it. Earth's gravity wasn't just a challenge for the Zolari. It was a threat. The stolen Zolari device sat on Maya Carter's desk, glowing faintly in the dim light of her tent. She stared at it like it was a piece of gold she had just found in the dirt. Ethan Blake leaned over her shoulder. "So, this thing really controls gravity?" he asked. Maya nodded. "I think so. When I turned it off, the alien couldn't stand." Ethan rubbed his face. "That means they're not just hiding their weakness. They depend on these things." Maya looked up at him. "What if we could prove that? What if we could show how much they need Earth's gravity tech to function?" Ethan gave a slow smile. "We'd be holding something bigger than any weapon." He picked up the device and turned it in his hands. "We have to tell someone," he said. A risky report. Later that night, Ethan and Maya stood in front of General Delaney and Dr. Linda Torres at the Pentagon. Delaney looked tired but alert. He listened carefully as Ethan explained what had happened. "We disabled one of their gravity bands," Ethan said. "The Zolari engineer collapsed. He couldn't move." Torres leaned forward. "You're sure about this?" Maya showed them the device. "This is one of theirs. We tested it. It works by reducing the pull of Earth's gravity on their bodies." Delaney frowned. So without it, they can't function normally? That's right, Maya said. They're weaker than they pretend. There was a long silence. Then Delaney spoke again. If this gets out, it changes everything. Torres nodded. It proves they aren't superior. It proves they're vulnerable. Ethan crossed his arms. But we can't just sit on this. If they find out we know, they might get more aggressive. Delaney tapped his fingers on the table. We need proof. Real proof. Something undeniable. Maya hesitated. What do you mean? Delaney looked at her. We need to disable more of those devices. Show the world what happens when the Zalari lose their edge. Ethan exchanged a glance with Maya. She whispered, Are we talking about sabotage? Delaney didn't answer right away. Then he said, Call it what you want, but if we don't act now, we may never get another chance. A plan in motion back at the Zalari compound. Maya and Ethan worked fast. They started small, disabling a few gravity bands hidden inside storage crates. Each time, they watched from a distance as Zalari engineers struggled to move. One fell while walking across the base. Another needed help lifting a tool. Each failure made Maya's heart race. This is working, she whispered. Ethan nodded. But we need something bigger, something public. Maya thought for a moment. What if we target one of their leaders? Ethan raised an eyebrow. You mean Virek Tal? Their main scientist, Maya said. If he collapses in front of everyone, the whole world will see the truth. Ethan considered it. That would send a message. But it's risky, Maya added. If we get caught, we won't, Ethan said firmly. We've been careful so far. We'll stay careful, Maya smiled slightly. Okay, let's do it. Whoa. The target Virek Tal was scheduled to give a public demonstration of Zalari technology the next day. Hundreds of people were expected to watch, including government officials, scientists, and news crews. It was the perfect chance. That night, Maya and Ethan crept into the Zalari compound under the cover of darkness. They moved quietly through the halls, avoiding patrols and cameras. At last, they reached Virek Tal's quarters. Inside, the alien was resting. On his arm was the same kind of gravity band they had tested before. Maya took out a small tool and carefully adjusted the settings. Ethan watched the door nervously. Hurry, he whispered. Maya pressed a button on the device. A soft beep sounded. She pulled back. Done. They slipped out silently. As they left, neither of them noticed the pair of glowing eyes watching from down the hall. The collapse. The next morning, the world watched as Virek Tal stepped onto the stage in front of the Zalari compound. He stood tall, his pale gray skin shining under the sun. Behind him, strange machines floated in the air, humming softly. The crowd gathered around, humans and aliens alike. Virek Tal raised his hand. Today, we demonstrate the future. His voice echoed in their minds. Then, without warning, he staggered. His body bent at the knees. His arms dropped. The floating machines buzzed wildly. Virek Tal fell to the ground. Gasps filled the air. Some Zalari rushed forward, helping him up. Others looked around confused. The humans in the crowd stared in shock. Maya and Ethan watched from a distance. He's going to be mad, Maya whispered. Ethan grinned. Good. Fallout. The event spread quickly. News channels replayed the footage. Scientists debated what had happened. Governments called emergency meetings. In the Zalari compound, things grew tense. Security increased. Patrols doubled. Some Zalari began wearing extra equipment on their limbs. Maya and Ethan were called in for questioning. General Delaney met them at the base. I saw the video, he said. Nice work. Ethan smirked. Wasn't us. Delaney gave him a look. Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. Maya tried to stay serious. They're scared now. They know something happened. They'll try to fix it, Ethan said. But they can't hide the truth forever. Delaney nodded. Keep going, but be careful. They're watching you now. Hidden help. That night, Maya received a message. It came from a Zalari technician named Kale Wren. He had helped her, before slipping her information when no one was looking. Now he sent her a file. Inside were diagrams of the gravity dampeners, along with notes in broken English. We cannot live here without help. Our bodies are not built for this world. Your planet is too strong. Maya read it twice, then she ran to Ethan's tent. You have to see this, she said. Ethan looked at the file. This confirms everything. Maya nodded. And Kale Wren says they're trying to build better systems. Stronger ones. Ethan frowned. Why tell us? Maya looked at the screen. Maybe he doesn't agree with what the others are doing. Ethan sighed. Or maybe he wants us to stop them. A new strategy back at the Pentagon. Delaney and Torres studied the new evidence. This is exactly what we needed, Delaney said. Proof that they can't survive here without help. Torres pointed at the diagrams. They're planning to upgrade their tech. If they succeed, they'll be stronger than ever. Ethan crossed his arms. Then we hit them first. Maya looked at him. What do you mean? Ethan turned to Delaney. We shut down their entire gravity system, all at once. Force them to deal with Earth's gravity without any support. Delaney narrowed his eyes. You're talking about full-scale sabotage. Yes, Ethan said. We take away their strength. Make them feel what it's like to be human. Maya swallowed hard. That's dangerous. Ethan looked at her. So is letting them stay here, Delaney thought. For a long time. Finally, he said, do it. But make sure you don't get caught. Brink was preparing for the strike over. The next few days, Maya and Ethan worked with Kale Wren. He gave them access codes, security schedules, and weak points in the Zalari network. They learned where the central gravity control unit was located in the heart of the compound. Disabling it would shut down every gravity dampener in the base. It would leave every Zalari helpless. Maya felt nervous as she reviewed the plan. What if they fight back? She asked. Ethan looked at her. They already did. Now it's our turn. Maya nodded slowly. Okay, let's do it. The night was dark when Maya Carter and Ethan Blake crept into the Zalari compound. They wore black suits and moved silently through the shadows. Behind them, a small team of soldiers followed, eyes focused and weapons ready. Their mission: shut down the central gravity control system. This would disable every gravity dampener used by the Zalari across their entire base. It would leave them weak. It would leave them helpless. And it would prove once and for all that humans were not as fragile as the aliens believed. The plan begins. Maya checked her watch. We've got 5 minutes before the next patrol. Ethan looked at the map on his tablet. Control room is just ahead. 2 guards outside. We take them out fast and quiet. Maya nodded. Let's go. They moved forward like ghosts. One soldier approached from the left. Another came from the right. With practiced moves, they struck fast. One guard dropped without a sound. The other was caught off guard and taken down just as quickly. Ethan opened the door. Inside, blinking lights filled the room. Wires ran along the walls. In the center stood a tall machine, smooth, gray, and humming softly. This is it, Maya whispered. She stepped up to the console and pulled out a small device Kale Wren had given her. A Zalari traitor who no longer believed in his people's superiority. This should override their system, she said. Ethan watched the door. Do it fast. Maya pressed a button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights flickered. The hum changed pitch. And then, everything went silent. Collapse of the giants. Outside, the first sign of success came quickly. Zalari guards staggered. Some fell, to their knees. Others leaned against walls, gasping for air. One tried to run but collapsed after only 2 steps. Across the compound, chaos spread. Zalari scientists stumbled in their labs. Engineers dropped tools. Leaders struggled to stand. They were strong in their own world, but here, under Earth's gravity, they were broken. Back inside the control room, Maya smiled. It worked. Ethan gave a short laugh. Told you they couldn't handle us. But their job wasn't done yet. An alarm blared through the halls. The Zalari were waking up to what had happened. Footsteps echoed in the distance. We need to move, Maya said. Ethan nodded. Time to go. A world-watching news spread fast. Within minutes, the whole world saw what had happened. Live feeds showed Zalari falling over, some crawling, others needing help just to sit up. Social media exploded. Humans strike back. Earth wins. Gravity is our weapon. In Washington, General Delaney watched the footage with a satisfied smile. Dr. Linda Torres stood beside him. They're losing control. Delaney nodded. Good. Torres looked at him. What now? He turned to her. Now we show them we're not just fighters, we're smart too. The Zalari response back at the compound. The Zalari gathered in a large hall. Virek Tal stood at the front, pale and shaking. His voice echoed telepathically across the room. We have been betrayed. By these weak creatures. By this planet. There were murmurs of agreement. Another Zalari stepped forward. Our systems failed. Our strength is gone. Virek Tal raised a hand. We must adapt. We must rebuild. But even as he spoke, some Zalari looked uncertain. Kael'ren watched from the back of the room. He knew the truth. Their time on Earth was slipping away. A secret meeting. Later that night, Maya received a message. It came from Kael'ren. Meet me. Alone. She told Ethan. He frowned. You sure? Maya nodded. He helped us before. Maybe he knows something new. Ethan sighed. Okay, but I'm watching from a distance. They met near an old storage shed, behind the compound. Kael'ren was already waiting. Maya approached slowly. You wanted to talk? She asked. He looked tired. His movements were slow. I cannot stop what is coming, he said. But I can warn you. Maya leaned closer. What do you mean? Kael'ren lowered his voice. They will try to fight back. Harder than before. Maya felt a chill. How? They are preparing to call for help, Kael'ren said. More ships, more warriors. Maya's heart pounded. They're going to attack? Kael'ren nodded. If they cannot stay, they will destroy. Maya swallowed, hard. Thank you, Kael'ren looked at her. You are stronger than they think, do not let them win. Then he turned and walked away. Maya stood there for a moment. Then she ran back to Ethan. We have to warn everyone, she said. Preparing for war at the Pentagon, Delaney listened carefully as Maya and Ethan explained what they had learned. So they're calling for backup? He asked. Maya nodded. And if they don't get it, they'll attack. Delaney crossed his arms. We need to be ready. Torres frowned. We still don't know how strong they are without their gravity tech. Ethan looked at her. We're about to find out. Delaney stood up. Then let's make sure we hit harder than they expect. He turned to Ethan. You and Dr. Carter will stay close to the compound. Watch everything. Learn everything. Then he looked at the rest of the room. We prepare for war. A new kind of battle the next morning. The Zalari tried to regain control. They built new machines, tried to fix their gravity systems, but without full power, they could only do so much. Meanwhile, human forces began moving into position. Soldiers set up bases nearby. Engineers built traps in the mountains. Pilots prepared drones and fighter jets. This wasn't just a military battle anymore. It was a test. Could humans protect their home? Could they use their environment to win? Ethan stood on a ridge overlooking the Zalari compound. Beside him, Maya watched through. Binoculars, they're scared, she said. Ethan nodded. They should be. Maya looked at him. What happens if they send more ships? Ethan smiled. Then we remind them why Earth doesn't need to be afraid. Maya gave a small laugh. You always say the right thing. Ethan shrugged. I try. First blood. That afternoon, the Zalari made their first real move. A group of warriors armed with strange weapons stormed a nearby outpost. They expected easy victory. They didn't get it. The soldiers were ready. Traps were set. Drones flew overhead. When the Zalari charged, they were met with fire and steel. Some fell immediately. Others tried to retreat, but found themselves slowed by Earth's gravity. They couldn't run fast enough. Within 20 minutes, the battle was over. No human lives lost. 3 Zalari captured. Maya. And Ethan arrived shortly after. Maya looked at the fallen aliens. They're not invincible, she whispered. Ethan nodded. They never were. It's a message. Sent later that night, a video was sent to deep space. It showed the captured Zalari being treated kindly. It showed humans working together. It showed the Earth itself, green, blue, and strong. No threats, no weapons, just life and a message. Earth stands tall. You are not welcome here. The Zalari were losing control. Their gravity systems were broken. Their warriors were weak. Their confidence was fading fast. But they weren't ready to give up. Back at their compound, Virektal stood before his people, his voice echoing through their minds. We have been tested. We will adapt. Around him, other Zalari looked uncertain. Some whispered among themselves. Others stared at the ground. They had come to Earth believing it was a place of lesser beings. Now, they were the ones struggling to stand. A new strategy at the Pentagon. General Delaney and Dr. Linda Torres studied reports from the battlefield. They're trying to rebuild, Torres said, pointing at a satellite image. New machines. Strange energy readings. Delaney frowned. Are they making new gravity tech? Torres nodded. Looks like it. But it's not working well yet. Delaney leaned back in his chair. Then we hit them before they finish. Across the table, Ethan Blake and Maya Carter listened carefully. Ethan crossed his arms. They're scared now. That gives us an edge. Maya tapped her notebook. And we know how they think. They rely on logic, on patterns. If we break those patterns, we can keep them off balance. Delaney gave a slow smile. I like the way you two think. He turned to a colonel sitting nearby. Get our teams ready, we move in 2 days. The guerrilla war begins. In the mountains near the Zalari compound, humans started using the land to their advantage. Soldiers moved silently through the trees. Drones flew high above, watching every movement. Local engineers built traps, hidden pits, rolling boulders, and pressure-sensitive wires that would trigger alarms or explosions. Ethan led one of the small strike teams. He and his group stayed hidden, moving fast and striking hard. One night, they ambushed a Zalari patrol near a river. The aliens expected a normal attack. They didn't expect rocks falling from above, or fire coming from behind, or soldiers appearing out of nowhere, then disappearing just as fast. When the battle ended, 4 Zalari lay on the ground too weak to fight. Ethan walked over to one of them. You thought we were weak, he said. The alien looked up slowly, breathing hard. We did not understand you, it said telepathically. Ethan smiled. Maybe now you do. Maya's plan back at base camp, Maya worked with a team of scientists and engineers. She had spent years studying the Zalari. She knew their weaknesses. She also knew their strengths. They use logic, she told the others. They predict what we'll do based on patterns. A young engineer named Nate Lopez raised his hand. So what if we don't follow any pattern? Maya grinned. Exactly, we change everything, every time. She pulled out a map. We set up fake bases, false signals, decoy attacks. Nate nodded. Make them chase ghosts. Maya pointed at another area. While they're distracted, we hit their real targets. It was risky, but it was smart, and it was human. The first trap. 2 nights later, the plan went into action. Near a ridge overlooking the Zalari compound, Maya and her team activated a series of seismic charges. These were special bombs designed to shake the ground without causing full collapse. The goal? To make the Zalari believe the mountain was unstable. That night, the explosives went off. The earth shook. Rocks rolled down the slope. Alarms blared across the Zalari base. Inside, Virek Tal watched the screens in confusion. "What is happening?" he asked. One of his scientists checked the data. "It appears to be a natural event," it said. "But it is strange timing." Virek Tal narrowed his eyes. "It is not natural. It is them." He turned to his commanders. "They are playing games with us." A message from within. Meanwhile, Kyle Wren sent another message to Maya. It was short, but powerful. "They are afraid." Maya read it again and again. She showed it to Ethan. "They really didn't expect this," he said. Maya nodded. "They thought we'd fall in line, obey them, learn from them." Ethan smirked. "Instead, we taught them a lesson." Maya looked at the sky. "We showed them what Earth is made of." Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. "And we're not done. Yet." Breaking the pattern over the next few days, the humans kept changing their tactics. One night, they attacked from the east, the next, from the west. Sometimes they used drones. Sometimes they used horses. Once they even dressed as Zalari and walked right past the guards. Each time the aliens tried to respond. Each time, they failed. Because humans didn't fight like machines. They fought like life itself. Unpredictable, wild and unstoppable. Back at the Zalari Command Center, frustration grew. "Our models do not match reality," one scientist said. Another added, "They do not act logically." Virek Tal looked at the reports, then he said, "They are not fighting us with weapons. They are fighting us with ideas." The mountain strikes back. On the 7th day of the resistance, Maya and Nate launched their biggest trap yet. They had mapped the terrain for weeks. They had found a weak spot in the rock above the Zalari base. With careful planning and precise timing, they set off a controlled collapse. That morning, the mountain responded. A huge section of rock broke loose. It rolled down the hill, crashing through trees, shaking the ground, smashing into the Zalari compound. The blast knocked out power lines. Destroyed. Communication towers blocked access roads. As dust filled the air, the Zalari ran in panic. For the first time, they looked truly afraid. From a distance, Maya and Ethan watched the destruction unfold. "That's what happens when you ignore nature," Ethan said. Maya smiled. "Earth fights back." Nandre, a new kind of strength word, spread fast, not just across Earth, but beyond. Human leaders sent messages to every nation. "We are winning. We are standing tall. We are not alone." People from all over the world joined the effort. Scientists shared knowledge. Farmers helped supply food. Engineers built better tools. Even children drew pictures and wrote letters to the soldiers. This wasn't just a war anymore, it was a movement. And it was powered by something the Zalari could never understand. Hope, unity, strength through struggle. The final pushback at the Pentagon, Delaney called a meeting. "We've shaken them," he said. "Now we finish the job." Torres looked at the maps. "How?" Ethan stepped forward. "We take away their last hope." Maya nodded. "Their communications, their backup plans, everything." Delaney gave a sharp nod. "Then let's show them what real strength looks like." The next day, the final phase began. Drones flew low. Soldiers moved fast. Hackers struck deep. Everything the Zalari had left was targeted. Their last gravity system was destroyed. Their emergency signal was jammed. Their escape route was blocked. And for the first time since arriving, the Zalari had no control, only fear. The Zalari compound was silent. No alarms, no lights, no movement. Just smoke rising from broken towers and the sound of wind blowing through shattered metal. Inside, The once proud aliens huddled together, unsure of what to do next. Their machines were dead. Their power was gone, and their strength, it had never truly been theirs to begin with. The last stand Ethan Blake stood at the edge of the battlefield, looking down at the ruins of the Zalari base. Beside him, Maya Carter adjusted, her coat against the cold mountain air. "They're finished," she said quietly. Ethan nodded. "They know it too." Below, a group of Zalari tried to regroup. Virek Tal stood among them, his tall frame now bent slightly under Earth's gravity. He looked up at the sky as if waiting for something. A ship. A signal. Hope. But none came. Maya pulled out a small communicator and pressed a button. "This is Dr. Carter. We've confirmed full system failure across the compound. Their tech is down. Their command structure is in disarray." General Delaney's voice came through clearly. "Understood. Begin Phase 2. Maya looked at Ethan. "Time to end this." A final message back at the Pentagon. General Delaney sat in the war room watching live feeds from the battlefield. Dr. Linda Torres stood beside him, arms crossed. "They've lost everything," she said. Delaney gave a slow nod. "And yet they still haven't surrendered." Torres frowned. "You think they'll attack again?" "I think," Delaney said, "they don't know how to lose." At that moment, an alert flashed on the screen. Zalari fleet detected above. Pacific Ocean. Torres gasped. "They called for backup." Delaney turned to the operators. "Can we stop them?" One of the officers shook his head. "Not without risking civilian zones." Maya's voice came through the speaker. "We might not have to." Everyone turned to the monitor where her face appeared. She looked serious. "Let me talk to them." Delaney raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" Maya nodded. "They won't listen to weapons, but maybe they'll listen to truth." One last try in front of the ruined compound. Maya stepped forward. She held up a small device, one Kael'ren had given her weeks ago. It allowed her to speak directly into the minds of the Zalari. She took a deep breath. Then she sent her message. "You came here thinking we were weak, thinking we could not fight back, thinking Earth was easy prey. But look around you." She gestured to the land, the mountains, the forests, the rivers. "This world is strong, and so are we." There was silence. Then slowly, Virek turned to face her. His voice echoed in her mind. "You used our own weakness against us." Maya met his gaze. "We didn't make you weak," she said aloud. "Earth did." Virek looked at his people. Some lowered their heads. Others looked away. For the first time, they were not sure of themselves. The fall of the Giants' hours. Later, the Zalari made their decision. They would leave. They would not return. From orbit, their ships changed course. The fleet above the Pacific turned around and vanished into space. On the ground, the remaining Zalari gathered what little they could carry. Virek walked slowly toward Maya and Ethan. He looked tired, defeated, but not angry. "You are not what we expected," he said telepathically. Ethan crossed his arms. "Maybe you just judged us wrong." Virek looked at the sky. "My people will remember this place," he said. "And what happened here." Maya smiled gently. "Good." The alien leader gave a small nod. Then he turned and walked away. A new beginning back at the human base. Celebrations began. Soldiers cheered. Scientists high-fived. Pilots flew low over the valley in victory passes. Across the world, news spread. Humans had won. Not through brute force, not through superior tech, but through cleverness, through unity, through the strength of spirit. At a small hill near the compound, Ethan and Maya sat together, watching the sun rise. "It's really over," Maya said. Ethan gave a tired smile. "Feels like it," Maya looked at him. Do you think they'll come back? Ethan shook his head. I don't think they'll want to. He pointed to the sky. Earth doesn't just protect its people, it is its people. Strong, wild, and free. Maya laughed softly. That was poetic. Ethan shrugged. Sometimes I surprise even myself. Messages to the stars days later, humanity sent. One final message to space. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a warning. It was simply a video. It showed children playing in fields, animals running through forests, people working, laughing, living, a farmer planting seeds, a teacher helping students, soldiers shaking hands with an enemy who had chosen peace, and at the very end, a single line. Earth stands tall. You are not welcome here. The video was broadcast into deep space, to any other species watching, to anyone thinking about coming. A reminder, a warning, a promise. Lessons learned. Back in Washington, Delaney addressed a global audience. We faced something we never thought we would, he said. An alien race. Advanced, confident, powerful. He paused. But they underestimated us. He looked into the camera. They thought we were weak because we don't fly like them, don't read minds like them, don't build cities in seconds. Like them. He smiled. But we didn't need to. We built our strength in different ways. Through teamwork, through courage, through love for our home. Behind him, flags from every nation waved in the wind. We proved that humans are fine, and we always have been. A world united in. The weeks that followed, something remarkable happened. Nations that had once been divided began working together. Science teams shared knowledge. Governments opened new programs to explore space. Not as conquerors, but as explorers. Even the captured Zilari were treated with respect. Some chose to stay and learn from humans. Others returned to their homeworld with stories of Earth, of its gravity, of its people, of its strength. Kale Ren stayed behind. He watched as humans rebuilt their bases, as children played near the old battlefield, as life moved forward. One day, Maya found him sitting alone. She joined him. You okay? She asked. He looked at her. I understand now. Maya tilted her head. Understand what? Kale Ren looked at the sky. That strength is not only in power or size, it is in heart, in will. He turned to her. You taught me that. Maya smiled. Glad to help. The end of the fight back at the Pentagon, Ethan packed up his desk. He looked at the medals on the wall, at the maps, at the photos of the team. Maya walked in. You leaving? She asked. Ethan nodded. Time for a break, Maya smirked. You earned it. He looked at her. What about you? Maya glanced outside where the sun was setting over the mountains. I'm staying, she said. There's more to learn, more to do. Ethan gave a soft laugh. Of course there is. He picked up his bag. Then he looked at her one last time. Keep making Earth proud. Maya saluted him playfully. You too. Were final words. The story of Earth's stand against the Zilari became legend. Schools taught it. Movies were made about it. Children dreamed of being like Ethan and Maya. But the real heroes weren't just them. They were the farmers, the engineers, the soldiers, the scientists, the everyday people who stood up when it mattered, who fought not with fear, but with hope, who proved that strength isn't about how much you can lift, or how fast you can run, or how big you are. It's about how far you're willing to go, how hard you're willing to try, and how much you believe in yourself and your home.